Hi, thank you for joining me today. And today I'm really excited to be joining in on Hey Little Magpie Scraplift Extravaganza for International Scrapbooking Day. So today each of the design team members and myself as owner of Hey Little Magpie are lifting one another. So I've chosen one of Giselle's layouts to Scraplift, and if you've watched my channel for any length of time you'll know that I absolutely adore this paper from Vicky Boutin's print shop collection. Giselle had used it as her base paper and I wanted to recreate that. So you will have seen at the beginning I created a mask out of card to create a 10-inch circle, and then I misted through that with Shimmer's Vibes to create the blue circle that you'll see there. And now you can see I've created another mask, and this is a 4-inch circle, and I'm just using my pokey tool to score the circle around my photo so that I can cut that out. Creating a mask like that is a brilliant way of positioning the circle precisely on your photo, so you can move the circle around to check exactly where you want to cut before cutting. So that's why I do it that way. So now I'm just going to map that photo onto some scrap white cardstock. It is a circle, but it's just a scrap. There's no special thing, the fact that I'm using a circle there. So now I'm going to mask the circle, and using my Tim Holtz stencil, I'm going to stencil through in chipped sapphire. So I'm masking half of that layout off, and then I'm going to push through chipped sapphire through this stencil to create the lines that you see on the original paper. So I push it through the stencil, going from bottom to the top. It takes me a little while to work out exactly how to hold the stencil because it's quite flimsy. You can see it moving a bit there, but I realise that if I hold it at the bottom and then push the ink upwards, that's the best way to do it. So I'll do this first one with you and then I'll cut to the end because you don't need to see me stenciling all the way across. But once I've completed this piece of stencil, I move it, shift it to the left and then carry on. Just like that. So just lining it up with the last line that I had there in the stencil. So now that that's all done, I'm going to come in with my Black Soot Distress Mist and just create some splatters, because there are some splatters on that original. And I just love how this has turned out. It's definitely a technique that I'll try again. You could do the circle with anything. It doesn't have to be a mist. I just wanted to try a mist this time, but you could use your inks or a paint or anything. So now that's dry, I'm working out what to use for my papers. So first of all, I'm going to cut round this circle. And at first I think I'm using the other side of this paper, but in fact in the end I use this dark navy. So I found this the easiest way to get the circle slightly bigger than the original, because I'm going to distress the edges anyway. And I'm using 49 and Market Serenity. 49 and Market is definitely one of Giselle's favourite design companies at the moment, so I thought it would be a nod to her. So just cutting my second circle now, and these are just the 6x8 papers. So I've chosen a couple of coordinating papers, but you can see those two are really quite close in colour. And when I put them together with the photo, I decided that'd be much better having that pop of navy. So I flipped that middle one over. So you can see there, look, they're very, very similar, but the navy really makes that photo pop. So now I'm coming in with some really old Dear Lizzie chipboard thickers to create my title. I don't actually end up with this in Love One, but at the moment I'm thinking that's what I'm going to use. This is a picture of the kids. We just swapped their cots out for beds. They were these cots that you could change into very low beds, and they were having fun and games, and Amelia decided to crawl into bed with James. We went in to see them because it had all gone quiet, and they were absolutely fast asleep. You can just see her bottle of milk nestled in her legs there at the bottom. Really cute. Honestly, the life of twins. So just gluing all these layers together now. And then I can start embellishing. And you can see Giselle's got a lovely cluster in the bottom right hand corner of that circle. Not that circles have corners, but you know what I mean, the bottom right. And I'm going to use some rub-ons to create that. So first of all, just messing with my title. Like I say, I think this is what I'm going to use at this point. Just trimming off the excess white to see if I can visualise how it's going to look. And here I am now with my rub-ons. So again, these are the 49 and Market Serenity rub-ons. And I'm focusing on the leaves first of all. So just cutting out the ones that I think I'm going to use, leaving the butterflies aside for now. And then I'll start positioning them. And it wasn't easy with the white background paper. I found it quite difficult to visualise how this was going to look, because it makes it look really stark against the blue. But obviously when you take that white away, it's much more subtle. But I get there. So just cutting out anything that I think might work. I want to create a cluster to the left as well, a slightly smaller cluster. And these leaves, I'm struggling a bit because they're quite long. I don't want to lose too much behind my photo. So just working out which ones are going to go where. And I want to focus on the blues and the beiges. So I'm looking at another sheet to see what we've got here. And this is a lovely collection of butterflies and typing and things. So I think I'm going to put that at the left. But again, a lot of it gets covered. So just having a think, trying to decide what to do. Moving and moving things around. Having a look to see what else I've got. And even these small bits I think will work really nicely here, because there's not much of a gap there to the right of the photo. Can't use anything too big. Still trying. I decided that piece is definitely too big, so going in with some of the smaller bits and pieces. And I decided I just need to go for it. So you can see I've got my tool there, so I'm going to start rubbing those down onto the page. And then I can really get a feel for how things are going to look without that white backing paper on them. So International Scrapbooking Day today. I hope you've got some crafty plans carved out for yourself. If not today, then in the coming week or so. Our challenges are open for a couple of weeks, so please do check them out throughout the day and join in where you can. We love to see everybody's take on these. I had great fun recreating this one of Giselle's. I hope you do too. So just getting those rub-ons down, as I say. And then I can carry on building. So now I've sorted out those to the right, I'm going to work on this cluster to the left. And I decide I want to add this big cluster just here, and it'll overlap those lines in the paper as well. So just working out where I want to put the title, where I want to put this rub-on. Adding the leaves first. Just making sure that everything's rubbed down, so I'm a little bit careful when I pull this sheet off, just to check that it's all stuck down firmly. And I keep bringing the photo in just to check that I'm happy with where things are going. So here's the second leaf vine. And this isn't exactly mirroring Giselle's, because you can see her bigger cluster is to the right of the photo. But this is just the way it worked out, and I am really pleased with the positioning at the end. And this is the thing when you're scrap lifting it, you have to make it work for what you're doing. And sometimes when you're using different products, it just works better a different way. So here's that big cluster that I was mentioning that I'm going to add to the left here. Just making sure everything's rubbed down, as I say. And there we go. So that's a nice amount of rub-ons around that photo. So now I can stick that down. As soon as I stick it down, I will find the butterfly that I want to add. Isn't that always the way? So there it is. So I'm just going to tuck that under. Butterfly or leaf. I think it might be leaves actually. I'm saying butterfly. It's another set of leaves. I do go on and add some butterflies as well in a bit. And now I'm going to work on this title, and it's once I've got it down I realise that it's just not quite right for me. So I go back into those thickers once I've had a fiddle and find something different. First of all, back to these butterflies. They were cut off the rub-ons. I know full well that these will just disappear if I don't use them. And here I am, like I say, with that title. And I find this gold one that says Darling. And I just think that's going to work so much better. So I'm much happier with that now that's down. Pop in the dot on the eye. So here's that other butterfly that I said would just get lost if I didn't use it. So popping that down at the bottom there. There we go. So now having a look to see what else I've got. And on this word sheet, there's a white word that says sweetness. I do put it beneath the title there, but in actual fact, it's so subtle you can barely see it. But it definitely does add something to that layout, because that blue circle would have been very plain had I not added the rub-ons and bits and pieces around it. So sometimes, even if you can't distinguish something really clearly, it's still adding something to your layout. So just rubbing that down there. And then I can get that title adhered down. So just using some wet glue. It's a very old, thicker sheet, this. Must be over 10 years old now. So just using some glue to help it stay on the layout. I love that pop of gold. I think it really stands out on the layout. So just deciding where to put this arrow, and I decide that I want it to overlap the photo. Little gold star that was on those thickers, so I decided to add that as well, and this chipboard heart. And then I went to my computer and typed out some journaling. So this goes where Giselle has got her little subtitle underneath her main title. And it just read, "We came in to see you as it had gone quiet. Amelia had snuck into bed with you, both flat out, her milk half drunk." It's just nice to have a record of what was happening. And I liked having these typed out on the word strips because it really stands out. And I just used a typewriter font. I think it was a Veteran typewriter that I used this time round. So just getting those stuck down with my wet glue. I just used a very thin white cardstock to print those out on. So now I've gone into my Simple Stories Boho Baby collection. I've hardly got anything of this left, but I have fussy cut some of the elements from the papers. And I just felt like it needed something a little bit more whimsical. So I'm coming in with these rainbows that I've fussy cut, the two little bunny rabbits and a star. And I'm just going to create a little cluster on the left-hand side there. As I say, this isn't copying Giselle's because hers is on the right, but this just seemed to sit better for me here. So just popping that down with some wet glue, and I've also used one of my printables that says You and Me, and if you pop over to heylittlemagpie.com, we've actually got a free printables available for International Scrapbooking Day. Just download it, it's completely free. We don't use your details for anything, so don't be afraid to add your details to the website. Just something nice from me to you. So just getting everything stuck down there, and then I shall work a little bit in the top right hand corner just to create that diagonal line that I like so much in my layouts. So here are the little bits that I'm going to add at the top, and it's just a little moon, a cloud and a star. And they're very subtle, the colours sort of blend into that striped background, but they work. And again, these are just fussy cut from the pattern papers from that Boho Baby collection from Simple Stories. And the colours work really nicely with this layout as well. So I decide that that circle that says you and me, I want to add one of our naked epoxy flare to. So just popping that on and then adding that down, and that just creates a different texture down there at the bottom. And then finally, I'm just going to handwrite the date, which was 1st of December 2009, and that's it. So I can't wait to see how you interpret Giselle's layout. I really hope you've enjoyed this process video, and I'll see you again tomorrow for another one. Thanks so much. Bye.